All right, guys. Fulu come to you with another video, a commentary. Um, I think like it's kind of bad that I think like some of the rhetoric that Cynthia G produces is actually taking like hold of like uh, the public, and this video was brought to my attention. Got a notification, and this is what happened. Uh, it just goes to show that, like, you, it just goes to show that it's kind of bad out here. It's real bad. We have a. I can go into so many things about. I guess you can say you know, how this period of like living right now, it actually resembles like pre-Islamic Arabia, Jahiliyyah. They call it Jahiliyyah because for those who don't know, in pre-Islamic Arabia, they used to kill their daughters. In essence, just I think they call it infanticide. And like right now, we in Jahiliyyah, it was like a lot of lewdness, a lot of corruption and stuff like that. And this is what you like pretty much see in the West and pretty much in most part in a lot of parts of the world. And the thing is that I don't really need to like talk about the universal principles of Islam. Like I'm not as what they call a da'i, or someone who gives dawah, who invites to Islam. But all I can say is that with Islam and with the study of Islam, and mind you, this is my born religion. Uh, I was encouraged to like study, research on my own, and think for myself. And the more I think for myself, the more it makes sense what's in place in it. And the more I see why Africa was like in as little worse as possible, why it was brought over to Islam, because from lectures that I listened to from my teachers, may God preserve them, there are things in, like, I guess you can say, esoteric principles of Islam that would appeal to the traditional Africanness type person. I'm not going to talk about those esoteric principles right now. And and if I were to even talk about it, the language I would use, many people wouldn't understand it. But that's for your research. Like, that's for you to research yourself. It's not for me to like convince you otherwise. Um, but I guess I can say that since many Balejo and also Tupac people are convinced that Islam was like just this tyrannical, imperialistic force that just like basically convinced black people and engaged in certain practices and stuff like that. Um, and they're going to believe that. And I mean, if they decide to believe it, that's fine. I mean, I don't care. But at the same time, what do they offer that's better? What kind of belief system do they have that is better, that basically encompasses and consolidates traditional African religion, consolidates it and organizes it in such a way where you don't lose anything It's just organized and it's given to one source. You know what I mean? Um, and the thing is during this month we have the big shayateens. They're supposed to be chained up, right? But if you do things on your own accord, like if you do things based off of like your own desires, that means there's some defect in you. And unfortunately, I'm going to show a defect in Cynthia G's ideology, and let's get into it.
Driving when a mom nearly threw her toddler in front of their truck. Terrifying close call. New video you'll see on just one station. Two brothers say they were driving when a mom nearly threw her toddler in front of their truck.
Kelly Kennedy joining us live. And Kelly, you...
So imagine if those brothers, like basically bought into the narrative that a lot of belligerent women talk about black men. And, you know, it's not just like them who say it, it's other people who say it as well, but they're the ones who are the provocateurs of the rhetoric that they spew, but because of the men that they choose. But let's continue on.
A spoke to the brothers. Interested to hear what they have to say, but first off, is the boy okay?
Yeah, Tiffany and Chris, and that's the most important thing, right? I'm told that this child was okay. He wasn't hurt. He's now safe with his grandmother. These two brothers tell me they're just grateful they were in the right place at the right time.
And the thing is one thing I notice is that black women, like belligerent women, they don't mind like putting like men through trauma. You know, if it wasn't for my faith, you know, I would have been gone a long time ago. I would have been out of here from things that they've done in the past to me and things that they've tried to set me up. You know what I mean? Like try to set me up for other things to happen to me. You know, luckily I dodged a lot of bullets, trust me. So with that being said, it's just like a bad situation. You know, it's a messed up situation. But let's continue.
And that they were paying attention.
Thank God that it was happy ending instead of a sad ending. You know, ain't no teddy bears right here, no flowers. It's cool. You know, little boy with his grandmother.
Cleveland brothers Lavelle Penson and Anthony Brown were working on Wednesday in their beer delivery truck.
Coming down this way, we're coming south, and she was in the middle of the street.
They were driving down Quincy Avenue near East 55th Street when they saw them.
As we driving down, we see like a lady almost like at an angle position herself, like she's about to throw the little boy in front of the truck.
So Penson stopped the truck and Brown jumped out. That's when Penson started recording this video.
She began to like wrestle with him, choke him, whatever. And I'm like tussling with him. I managed to get him away from him and, you know, talk to him, hey, it's gonna be all right.
And the thing is like they don't even care what they put their children through. Like that's the messed up thing about this whole thing is like, if you like really had like some, like just some kind of, I guess you can say some kind of humanity, you would think about like what you're going to put your kid through. Like, especially if you've been through some things yourself, like, I guess it's just different for me. I wouldn't want people to go through things that I had to go through. You know what I mean? I wouldn't want people to experience some certain things that I had to go through. You know what I mean? I wouldn't want that. I mean, I would want better. I would want nothing but the best, you know, but I think some people just are caught up with, I guess you can say, putting people in the same thing that they've been through, or putting people through pain too. Like, they're like, okay, well, if I feel it, you definitely gotta feel it. So yeah, it's all a bad situation.
Like, listen, bro, you're gonna be all right. I got you.
Brown says he then took the child to a security guard at Alfred A. Benish School on the corner before police arrived. CMHA police acknowledged the incident happened, but they have not sent us any additional information.
It's shocking, man. It would have messed my life up, you know, if I would have took that little boy's life.
How grateful are you that you were there, that you were able to intervene and stop this before the kid got hurt?
God put me there. I ain't did nothing special. I'm just happy that he put me there and I acted on it. I would want somebody to do the same for my daughter if something like that was going on.
And these brothers tell me the little boy's grandmother actually reached out to them. She wants to meet with them and thank them, and so does that little boy. They tell me they're just grateful that they were able to help and do the right thing. For now, reporting live in Cleveland, Kelly Kennedy.
And this is like what causes like people like to got like boys to grow up and do like be degenerates and stuff like that. Because like, yeah, I've seen it firsthand when your family don't love you, stuff like that, or when your family willing to do things like that. It's just, where are you gonna go? I mean, the streets don't love you, but the streets will take you with open arms. You know what I mean? Like, that's just how it works. Streets will take you with open arms, and, you know, and there'll be certain conditions, but you still, that's what you sign up for. You know what I mean? This is why it happens like that, you know. And I'm going to show something else that was brought to my attention a while back. What I will say is that, like, as of right now, it may not be, it's kind of like wise for, I guess you can say, like, you to just like basically stay on your square and maybe avoid, you got, I don't know how you can, it's pretty difficult to weed out like these women, but you have to find a way to do it, because it may save your life, you know. Like, that's the thing, it may save your life. So it's important, like, to weed them out, you know. It's very important to weed them out. But let me check something out. I wanna show something that was really that was brought to my attention. So this is why it's good to have like the father in custody of the kids most, you know what I mean? Because here's what's going on. Here's where we're at. When the parents are doing this, and I'm pretty sure, you know, like 9 times out of 10, I'm pretty sure that the parents making them do this are single mothers. Now, the thing is, because what Belejo women do, they say that oh, you know, that we're the originators of twerking, you know, we get it from Africa. And in reality, they don't get it from Africa. They get it from ratchet culture, because the thing is that in Africa, when we have our traditional dances, there was a reason for it. Like, there was a statement being made. Like, our two native dances called Batuku and Funana, those dances were a means of rebellion. You know what I mean? Because of the drumming and things like that. They incited different energies. And even the colonizers forbade those dances. And, you know, although they do involve gyrating of the hips and the knees and stuff like that, usually when they're doing it, it's with women. And even if there are men there, the men are like just playing their position, not throwing dollars at them, not getting behind them and stuff like that. But let's check this out. So when you have that, like when you have parents encouraging this behavior, there's really no need for I mean, at the end of the day, it's pretty much no need for, I want to say, in anything like, there's no need for any more ignorance if you have it in your house, you know. I mean, and here's another one too.
Your bridesmaids ain't lit like this on your wedding day, cancel them post-period.
And they said, like, now it said on here, if your bridesmaids aren't like this on your wedding day, cancel them post-period. And then it's saying, so proud to be black. So you see how it's being encouraged. Like, this behavior is being encouraged. This ratchet kind of behavior is being encouraged. This jahil behavior is just being encouraged, being encouraged, being encouraged. Programmed into people. Program. And the thing is I'm not going to sit here and say that, I'm not going to sit here and say that, like, imperialism, racial oppression doesn't have anything to do with it. But I'm not going to sit here and say that that's the only reason why it's happening. Because, I mean, at the end of the day, you definitely have a choice to make if you're going to engage in something or if you're not going to engage in something. But let's see. And you know what's crazy? They have that thing called Devil in a Red Dress. Go figure. Now, you know, for me, like, I'm going to say that, like, I'm going to say, although I come from, like, a place that there are social traps, I'm really not the type that, you know, fell into the, like, social trap and got turned out. You know what I mean? I'm the type that adapted to the social traps and, like, made maps on my way, like, try to map my way out. You know what I mean? Like, that's how I did it, basically. And, you know, we may talk about celebrities, like, turning these little boys out and making them, like, emasculating them. But it's also, like, black women who do it as well. And I'm going to show you this clip right here. So the fact that this little boy is able to use that stripper pole that well, it's kind of like a red flag, and it's kind of alarming, because when going to school, like when that when that kid goes to school, we have to ask ourselves, like, what is he going to face once he gets of age, you know? And this is just the kind of behavior that has been normalized. Like, what can we look forward to seeing, you know, with him? You feel me? So again, this shows that, like, public enemy number one is, yeah, I'm gonna say this, the heterosexual traditional black man who will teach his kid how to fight, teach his kid how to shoot, teach his kid how to, like, do outdoors things, teach his kid to go man to man, hand to hand, teach his kid, like, to love women, meaning that teach his kid basically, if he wants to be polygamous, that's his right, that's his thing. Teaching his kid that, like, he's the head honcho, he's the numero uno. Like, that's public enemy number one for in this society, in Western society. You know what I mean? And I don't know what to say, you know. I really don't know what to say at this time. Let me see. There was a treatise that I had from my teacher. You know, I'll end this video after this. Try to find it. It taught like about the raising of kids, like how you should bring up kids. Let me see if I can find it. Hold on, let me see. This may be it right here. Let's see. Okay. I'll read it. Read a little bit. Realize that a child is a trust from Allah and to his parents. His heart is pure and free of all forms of embellishment. The child naturally inclines towards everything that inclines to it. For if the child is made accustomed to doing good and excellence, al-khair, and if the child is educated with excellent courtesies, adab, then originally it will be reared based upon excellent and educated courtesies. So, like, that's just to say that basically, if your parents, if you're stand up, if your parents are stand up, then, you know, most of the time the child is going to be that way. The only time that outside influence, like, infiltrate the child is when basically the parents get lackadaisical and, like, don't keep up with their child. And it's a matter of fact that, like, even, for example, you have guys like LeBron James, you had guys like Allen Iverson, who didn't maybe have fathers in the household, but they had strong male figures that basically ensured that they learn things as a man, you know. The child will as a result, be joyous in the world and the hereafter. More importantly, its parents, its teachers, its educators will share the reward of what worldly and celestial joy. So, like, it's good to have like different teachers with your child, like different like guys who can provide different things for your child. Like, for example, like say, with my kids, I'm going to have, maybe I'll coach my kids in boxing, or I'll coach them in something like that they want to get into. Like if they want to get into some soccer, I'm going to be the coach of that. If they want to get into some boxing, I'll help them with that. If they want to get into some like track and field, I'll help them with that. If they want to get into like some technology, some tech, then I'll help them with that. For their religious training, I'm going to give them to like a teacher of Arabic, a teacher of like Quran, teacher of fiqh, teacher. Like I'm going to pass them around different teachers who I know have good moral character. And then they're going to take from that, and then that's going to shape them, right? So when the child is accustomed to doing evil and is neglected in its edification, then it will become wretched and eventually destroyed. But more significantly, the sin and the responsibility will be on the neck of the caretaker and the guardian. So, I mean, like when these parents do this to their children, when these Bolejo women do this to their children, just understand that they're going to incur like punishment for doing this, that they're going to like, because what the argument is, one argument that people like to use is that, the argument that's used is that eventually these kids start thinking for themselves, and they start, they have to be responsible for their own actions. But who planted the seed of like this? You know what I mean? Who is responsible for planting the seed of this? It goes on to say the manner in which the parent can protect his child from eternal fire initially is by four means: instructing it in excellent character, guarding it against immoral acquaintances, not allowing the child to get accustomed to affluent living and over adornment if it is male, and not permitting the child to get accustomed to the causative factors of luxury living, so it doesn't waste its entire life chasing after these things. Now notice that it said if it is a male, meaning that as default, like by default, females are going to be inclined to nice things. You know what I mean? Like that's just their natural inclination. So it kind of excludes them from this. Because of the simple fact that like if you're a male and you're all into this all the time, then you kind of develop the traits of females. And so this is the wisdom that comes behind this. Now, let's see. So this is heavy, and this is also going to offend a lot of Bolejo women, but it says, and I highlighted this because I was going back and forth with someone. It says, when the child attains the time of nursing, and its parents should make sure that its nursing is done by a righteous woman who only consumes what is permissible. This is because milk that originates from that which is prohibited eventually corrupts the heart of a nursing child. So, like, for example, I hate to say this, and people are going to come at my neck. I hate to say this. I hate to say this. I hate to say this. But, and this is for people who follow Nature Boy and stuff. But people were coming at my neck for me saying that, like, Velvet's children are going to be, like, they're going to essentially be troublesome, you know, meaning that they're essentially going to be, like, what's the word I want to use? Not smooth, because their mother was not smooth, and their mother did things based off of corruption. You know, those babies were had in corruption, and by her, like, breastfeeding the babies, they're getting a share of that corruption. You know what I mean? Let me see what else. Let's see. The parents should get the child accustomed to eating simple foods, and also generate a dislike for eating too much food. Now, when you look at kids these days, I'm surprised. Like, sometimes I be looking at kids, man, and I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but be like, dang, how'd you get so big? I don't mean that in a good way. You be seeing kids who are, like, maybe, like, I don't know, like, let's say they're 7 years old. You look at them 2 years later and they're like blew up. You're like, huh? How? Okay, let's see. Let's see what else. So, like, also, you know, if you're a man, I think this is a matter of opinion, but if you're a man, you should get your kid to, like, not like hella colorful clothes, like have them with white clothes mostly. But I'm not gonna cap. I like colorful clothes myself, you know what I mean? But I'm far from, like, having effeminate qualities of a woman. I think this was just said in the context of the time that they were living in, you know, due to the fact that in Africa, you know, women loved hella colors and stuff like that back then, and still do now. So they were trying to, like, keep men from having that. Okay, let's see. So the parent should encourage the child to be preoccupied with learning and studying. It says the Quran here, but I want to take it a step further and say that a kid should just be preoccupied with learning and studying, period. You know what I mean? Like, that's what they should be doing. But most kids are preoccupied with what their parents are preoccupied. And if your parents are preoccupied with dancing on the strip pole, then what are you going to be preoccupied with? A parent should see that the child learns and studies the prophetic traditions of the Prophet, alayhi salatu salam, and also that there should be implanted in the heart of the child the love for righteousness, and also, whenever a child exhibits refined character, praiseworthy actions, it should be rewarded, honored, and revered, so that the child can grow an innate joy for good character and good deeds, and so that it can be reinforced in it. So yeah, I mean that's true too. Like imagine if your kid has stand-up character early and you're like, you know what? You deserve this. You know what? Let's get this. At the same time, when it acts opposite, when the child acts opposite of this, then you shouldn't tell your child's business out. You shouldn't tell your child's flaws or anything like that. Um, um, Let me see what else. Yeah, you should just tell the child if they get too comfortable in it, like be aware of being exposed, and don't expose others, You shouldn't insulting words against the child all the time. Because the thing is, in the mind of the child, it will it will actually, like, a child will be so accustomed to you saying certain things that it will just keep on doing those certain things. You know what I mean? Like, in fact, it will just kind of kind of ignore it. You know what I mean? Like, oh, I'm used to my parents calling me this, Yeah, keep the child from oversleeping during the day because it will create laziness. Make sure this child sleeps at night, though, You got to keep the child's limbs strong, not weakened. Also, like, the child should be accustomed to walking, movement, and physical exercise. So that's where that's where I would most likely come in the most at, is getting my child right, athletic, getting my child ready for whatever. Like molding my child in such a way that they're going to be ready for whatever comes at them. You know what I mean? Molding them in such a way that they will be the quiet type, but if you mess with them, you will soon see how loud their fists talk. You know what I mean? Like that. The parents should accustom the child not to revealing its exquisite things, and also keep from bragging. You know what I mean? With anything that the parents possess, humility, showing respect to everybody, and not be nosy. Also, child shouldn't be begging for children for their things, and that child should know that honor comes from giving, not receiving. And that people constantly giving them things is like a tendency of like a dog. And it's sad that modern women, have those childlike tendencies where you can never give them enough. They literally want, literally part of their checklist is, okay, you got to get me a Birkin bag, you got to take me on a vacation, you got to pay my rent, got to pay my light bills, got to get my nails done, got to get my hair done, all of that. You know what I mean? That, and it's crazy because it's kind of like, It's kind of like you're acting like man's best friend. You know, prevent the child from too much talking. Excessive speech, even if it's truthful or thoughtful or truthful. More listening than talking, you know. Bad speech, keep the child from that. Screaming, keep from that. Also, this is heavy, that, you know, you basically have to teach a child to be stoic, and that this patient is a hallmark of courage, bravery, and free men, or like screaming and stuff like that is a stamp for those who are enslaved, right? Also, you got to give your child playtime. It's not just about learning, but still keep the playtime limits, you know. You can't just have this child study all the time. You got to balance it, you know. Obedience to parents and to adults. See. So, you know, you got to just teach the child to take his provisions from this life, and also don't forget about the life to come. And also, if the child is raised different from this, it grows for love by just playing all the time, obscenities, idleness, improper foods and attire, bragging and boasting. So this barrier becomes like high wall made of dry earth that blocks all affairs, you know. And yeah, so, you know, me just reading this, you see that, you know, most Belejo women and Tupac women, or just most non-traditional women, don't give a crap about how these children come up. You know what I mean? And so you saw, and it gets to a point that, you know, sometimes they have a need to, like, even off their own kids. And this is in thanks to what Cynthia G said, you know. Unfortunately, some bonnethead Bonquisha took heed to what she said and actually tried to do it, man. I'm just here, don't shoot the messenger, you know. I'm just here giving a message from what I see. And if I didn't speak out on this, then I would kind of be as bad as the person who did it. You know what I mean? Who tried to do it. So this is why I speak out on it. It offends them, but, you know, I don't care if I offend them. You know, if I cared about offending them, I would be like a Will and Jada. You know, so I really don't care. But let me know what y'all think about what I read, and let me know what y'all think about the videos that I showed. But anyhow, Fool is signing out. Unjarama.